there's still a lot of carryover from years past. And I think with Coach Harbaugh there, he's not going to let it get too far away from his philosophy and, their effort to be physical and control the game with the run game. So, there's a lot of stuff there, and, we'll have to be ready for a lot of different personnel packages. They use different packages within personnel packages and things like that. So, we'll match it a lot of different ways.
In the film room going over, breaking down Lamar, and you see he's shaking off 2 and 3 tacklers. Looks like he's wrapped up, but he's not wrapped up. What are you telling your players about those situations, and why is he such a difficult player to bring down?
Well, because he's one of the best athletes in the NFL, and he just happens to play the quarterback position. So, if we saw running backs doing that, we wouldn't bat an eye. We got to tackle him like he's a running back, tackle him like he's a wide receiver. Just because the ball's in his hand doesn't mean that he's still not a threat to run. So, I think that probably has a lot to do with it. And, we're going to try to be physical. If he does run, we're going to try to play our game and, put some hits on him and, those kind of things. But, you got to tackle him like he's a running back. And, if you half-step, if you play too cautious, or, a guy like that, if he pumps you off your feet, we're not playing good defense if you see guys leave their feet on the quarterback, right? Because he's just going to pull it and he's going to fly past and he's going to make a big play. So we got to stay on our feet. We got to tackle through his midsection, and we got to get him on the ground like he's a running back.
What can you say about Miles' 3.5 sack game and just how dominant he appeared to be from start to finish in that game?
No, I think there's still meat on the bone, to tell you the truth. I think there's still times we haven't played a lot of snaps because we've been getting off the field on third down, so that hasn't given the guys a lot of opportunities to rush. But they're still hitting the quarterback a bunch and things like that. So sacks are great and we want to get sacks, but sometimes a great pass rush doesn't equal a sack. Sometimes the ball can be thrown quick and it be an incomplete pass. Sometimes, sometimes it can be a tipped ball. There's a lot of different ways, and as long as the defense works, that's what we're looking for. Miles was the beneficiary a couple times of Za'Darius. Za'Darius flushed the quarterback and had a chance to maybe get a safety on that one, but Miles was there to clean him up. And we're about the group up front. And Miles is a great player, but we got a lot of great players up front, and we're trying to produce as a group. And we have an unselfish group. They don't make it about one person. We don't make it about one person. We try to get the job done, whether it's Alex Wright or Miles or Obo or Z or Jordan or, whoever's in there. You guys know we play a lot of guys up front. We have a high standard. And, they all celebrate each other's success. As long as we stay on that track, we'll be fine, not worrying about guys' individual stats and things like that.
What did you think when the Titans moved kept moving the 2 tight ends and Miles was going back and forth?
Yeah, I saw that when I was in Detroit as head coach. All team do that to Calvin Johnson. Put 2 guys in vice over him, and, sometimes you never, it's like, wow, first time I ever saw that. And teams follow, but that's, we have the ability to be able to give Miles the freedom to, move away from some of those situations. And I think you just saw that. They were trying to tail him. We were trying to get away from it. They ran out of the clock, So, and at that point of the game, taking a timeout was pretty critical, because, if were we 17 up at that point? But timeouts were critical. It's fourth quarter. Timeouts are critical. So, the effectiveness of that, and then having a good effective pass rush on the other play, when it's all said and done, whether Miles is dribbling or they're chasing 2 tight ends across him or, whatever, it's what happens after the snap that's the most important. And, we got to cover, we got to rush, we got to stop the run, we got to stay after this quarterback. We do those things, we'll be happy.
Like Lamar, who's equally adept at running or throwing, do you try to take one away?
No, we just try to play our schemes the best we can and play good team defense. And like always, we try to put an effort or an emphasis on relentless effort and speed and physical toughness and some passion for the game. And if we do those things, then that'll be enough to stop a dual threat at quarterback.
For the first 3 games, how do you think the guys have responded to some of the in-game adjustments you've tried to make to them, and how crucial is that going to be going against a team like the Ravens on Sunday?
There's always things that you adjust here and there. And, generally it's like, hey, we just showed this. Let's give them something else off of that. Or it might even be the opposite. It might be making no adjustments. It's like, hey, look, let's keep bringing it until they stop it. So, I don't know. I honestly, half the time I can't remember what goes on during the game. I'm just sort of in the zone and not really thinking about that stuff. And, you're anticipating the next move. You're trying to communicate to your players. You're trying to, correct anything that came up. You're trying to get them ready for the next series and things that you're going to call. And, I think they've done a good job of responding to those kind of things.
You mentioned Darius earlier. What has he brought to that room from not only on the field, but also just a personality standpoint?
Yeah, he's a veteran player. He's tough. He's had a lot of success in the league. And he's done it in, a little bit of a different scheme. This is new for us, right? We talk a lot of time about defensive linemen. I still remember, way back in Greenbrier, he got up on one of the plays and he was jamming a wide receiver and, he was playing 3-4 outside linebackers like, yo, that's not us, and he's taken to it really well. The first play of the season, he just goes and we get that hit on the quarterback, beats the tight end across the ball. And I thought that really set the tone for us. And, he's an experienced guy. He helps the younger players out. He's good against the run and the pass. He's been a great acquisition for us.
What's the key to this defense continuing to play well consistently week in and week out, no matter who the opponent is?
Yeah, I think that's probably the answer is in the question. We just got to take it on a week-by-week basis, and, we got to put our eyes on the next opponent and not what we've done in the past and not what we're going to do a month from now or, 2 months from now. Let's live in the moment. Let's practice hard. Let's meet well. Let's prepare well. And let's go out and perform well on a Sunday and just keep doing that. And, we can keep stacking those. Don't worry about what's happened in the past. Don't worry about what's happened in the future. I think that you can get derailed a little bit in this league sometimes with success. Sometimes success is harder to deal with than failure. A lot of guys can bounce back really quickly from failure. There's a human nature to your pride, and you get beat, and you want to come back and you want to correct that and things like that. But sometimes it's hardest when you are experiencing success to to not get off track, and that's my job. My job is to make sure that that we don't that we stay focused on what we have to do, and and in that moment, as opposed to, what our stats are and everything else. Because when it's all said and done, our stats are 2-1, right? That's what it is. Our stats are 2-1, and we're playing a 2-1 team. Some team's going to be 3-1. Let's keep our eyes on that, and let's let league rankings and Pro Football Focus and all that stuff. We'll just let that just stay where it is, and we'll concentrate on what we have to do that week. And if we can keep our guys focused on that. And I like our guys that way, too. They respond really well. And they're not thin-skinned. It's hard to play defense for us if you're thin-skinned. So there's some course corrections. There was a course correction last week. We needed a course correction and get our minds right for a running back that was coming to town, and the players responded well to it. And, there's going to be those things. But let's keep our eyes on what's happening right now, and let's not worry about where we rank or where we're going to rank or all those things. Let's just try to win a football game. Let's keep the score down. Let's try to set our offense up. Let's bring some passion to the game. Let's get our fans excited. Let's get our home field going and make it hard for opponents to play here. Let them be part of it. And I think if we do those things, then we'll be successful.
Last one. Greg was obviously inactive last week, but the first 2 games, just what you've seen from him, and Denzel said, today he thinks he's like the best slot corner in the NFL, and your thoughts on that too, I guess.
Yeah, he's into consideration there. He can play outside, inside, gives us that, functionality to move him around, and he can match up quicker guys. He can match up stronger guys. I thought Cam did a good job in his place. Not perfect, but did a good job in his place. We had miscommunication on one where we gave up a completion that was, pregame warm-up completion. But, rookies make mistakes. He corrected it and, then came back. But I thought Cam did a good job stepping in, and that's what we need. Ronnie Hickman went in the opener on very short notice and did the same thing. So we're going to continue to have guys step up like that. But it is nice to have Greg back on the practice field. We'll see where he gets to by Sunday. All right, guys.
You're up. All right, there's your defensive coordinator, Jim Schwartz, at the podium. Welcome in as we do it live on a Thursday.
Tremendous coordinator, tremendous orator. I like it.
I mean, I think if you think of, like, the great orators
Of our time.
or of any time.
Sure.
I mean, you think about Cato. I mean, you want to go way back. Marcus Aurelius. Jim Schwartz.
Yeah. I like it.
It's right there.
I like it.
Cicero.
Cicero. Sure.
Perhaps.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's fun, man.
He is
It's
fun.
fun. I
He
like
is fun.
direct answers to direct questions. Sometimes even not a lot to look for, boys. Scraping the barrel on that one, huh?
I like
That's
that.
fun.
Yeah.
It's great.
Only 2
It's-
takeaways were like historically great. We're doing fine. Yeah. The crazy thing about the season is the one game that we did get takeaways in.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them, lost, and gave up. Well, the defense did not, but
No.
they give. Okay, so they give 13
Right.
as a defense. They've given up 6 in the other 2 games.
Yeah.
It was crazy. When in getting ready, I always put the snap counts from the previous week for both teams on my on the board so I can get a look at it. So MJ Emerson and Juan Thornhill and Delpit played every single defensive snap that we had last game.
Okay.
There were 45 of them
There were only 45 defensive snaps.
in the game. Yeah, 45, and we had 71 on offense.
I was going to say.
So we're saying they're going to be fresh.
We're going to be fresh. And then if you flip it around conversely, because the Ravens just went to OT, their defense played 84 snaps
Yeah.
a week
Jeez.
ago. So our defense played just about 40 fewer snaps than their defense played
Do you
a
have
week ago.
what they played against Cincinnati? Because there was a lot of 3 and out in that one too.
I would on the other
On
one.
last week's
I can tell
board.
you this is for the Pittsburgh game. We only were on the field for 54.
Yeah, and I would think Cincinnati would be even less.
And we ran 87 offensive plays against Pittsburgh.
Oh God, that one is so
Plus
gross.
30 in plays.
Plus 30 in plays, and you lose.
And you lose.
It's just
Yeah, ridiculous.
sucks.
Yes.
Well, make it right with a win Sunday against the Ravens.
Absolutely.
His it's the most recent best example that I can come up with or that I can think of a coach's personality meshing and kind of unlocking the personalities of the players he coaches.
100%.
The best example that I can think of it is probably Urban in 2012 at Ohio State, where he got there and all of a sudden it was like what those guys were capable of was unearthed. This is what this feels like. Like we had a lot. I mean, just think about, we had Denzel Ward. I don't know if we have it in the show, but he was talking today, and just how confident he is outwardly. And some of those guys had it anyway. Like Emerson had it anyway. Newsome had it anyway. But even the way Miles is going about his business, we've never seen Miles has always been so great,
no.
but he's never been this chesty, this confident. This
Yeah.
And that's what you want when you're playing defense. His confidence in his scheme is pulling that out of them.
You're exactly right. Myles Garrett has been phenomenal. This defense has been nothing short of sensational. And, you talk about the confidence guys are playing with. Denzel Ward's given up on the season, just 50% completions when targeted in coverage. He has 5 passes defensed already.
Yes.
5 passes defense. When you think about that, you say to yourself, well, wait a second. 5 passes defense, that's good. Tied for 3rd in the NFL. You're right. Very, very, very good. how often are teams even throwing at him, right? Like that feels like a reasonable question to ask yourself. How often are teams even throwing at Denzel Ward? And the answer is honestly not that often. So when you think about 5 pass breakups in the midst of not getting targeted a ton in coverage, that becomes crazy. So the exact number is they've thrown 20 passes his direction. Basically, 1 out of every 4 passes they've thrown in his direction have been broken up, which is wild that they're testing him. Nobody else on the team's been seen more than 12 targets. You know who has? It's MJ Emerson. How about this? MJ Emerson is allowing 1 reception for every 29 snaps in coverage this year, which is the best in the NFL. Second place is 1 every 25 snaps. He is giving up a 25% completion when targeted and a 39 quarterback rating when targeted.
Yeah, it's all.
And you can get to the quarterback. You've got Miles. You've got Obo. You've got Za'Darius, who doesn't have a sack yet, but is around the quarterback.
He's there all the time.
All the time.
He's there all the time.
Mo Hurst is getting around the quarterback all
Yeah.
the time. This team.
Alex Wright got home.
Alex
last time
Wright,
out.
yes.
Yeah, no, it's special. I had a submission for a nickname for the and they wanted to tie in Lake Erie. Was the hope was like the Erie part of it, like the Erie Wall.
I haven't
or
heard
something
one that
like
I mean, Junkyard Dogs, I get it, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
All right, what is it?
It was something like Erie Wall, the Great Wall of Erie, or something like that. And I thought, I don't know if that's going to get it done. So I mean, there's people are throwing stuff out there. It's going to have to happen.
Elves. No.
Yeah, that's not going to work. Yeah, Junkyard Dogs is the easiest, but it would be something. If you think about the great ones, it's usually something that is geographically tied into.
Yeah.
So that would be nice if there was something that we could tie into there.
Too bad Orange Crush is taken because I feel like that's what we kind of are right now. We're an Orange Crush.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. The Lake Erie Monsters would be pretty good if there wasn't a team named that.
A minor league hockey team.
Because it's pretty. That's a good one.
Yeah,
that's good for sure.
Like the Loch Ness Monster.
Yeah, that is very good. All right, coming up next, we'll get you an update from practice and an update on Deshaun Watson's health and the health of his shoulder. Roquan Smith just throwing bombs.
Can you believe that?
Oh, we'll have some
and we're
fun
here
with
for it.
I
We're
can't
here
wait.
For it.
I'm for all of it. It is a mailbag Thursday. Tweet us your questions at Browns_daily, and we will get to those later in the show. It is also a matchup Thursday edition, so we will do our offense versus their defense and vice versa. Get your fantasy tips as well, and we got a Thursday nighter. This is the best of the primetime games by far.
That we've had thus far, no doubt.
So a lot of fun here on the program. We're off and running. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Bally Bet, sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. How'd you do last night? How was the show?
It was big time.
Yeah?
So much larger than life.
So much larger than life?
It was a good show. He played a lot of his new stuff that I didn't know, but he's got like a pretty,
you play the
funky
hits,
vibe.
right?
He played the hits. You got Big Time. You got In Your Eyes was the first encore. You got Salisbury Hill. You got Sledgehammer.
Good.
You got Biko, which he ended with Biko, the whole thing, which was pretty sweet, about the guy, the activist in South Africa who was, his murder was kind of the spark that kind of brought down apartheid. So it was good. Obviously, maybe about 8,000, not a full house by any
And it
stretch
was
of
at Q?
imagination. At the Q, yeah.
Probably a
Rocket.
bit different venue would have been more appropriate for that.
It was a very,
That's a stadium. I mean, that's...
It was a very homogenous crowd. It was a very, very... Kayla and I were outside of the classic demographic by a good margin.
One of you more than the other, even.
Yeah, 10 years more, you might say. But it was good. We went down there, had a great meal at Aqua de Luca. Great meal, like incredible.
Okay.
In honor of the hot, so we got the mare, which is their big seafood platter to start, and it's in this like kind of like a linguine with clam sauce. I would say it's all kind of sitting in. You get the king crab, the lobster,
the
scampi's, the shrimp, the scallops, the mussels, the clams, the calamari. It was plenty for four, and you wanted to dip your bread in that sauce. It was so good. And then I got an elk shank in honor of the Hoff.
Let's go.
It was unreal.
Of course it was great.
It was great.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Elk shank. I love
and
it.
And Danny got they had a Wagyu Asabuco going that was
quite solid.
Quite delicious. And Miss K got a veal chop, which was one of the best, juiciest veal chops I've ever gotten in my life.
Yeah.
So they crushed it.
So good job out of them.
Our guy Maurice took care of us. He was on it because Danny was very like, we got to get this.
Danny was
concert
in.
on
Like
time.
he needed this. He flew up for this. This was his big thing.
Oh man.
Where does the Gabriel love come from?
From his youth.
Just his youth.
Yeah, love Gabriel, Genesis.
Yeah.
All of it. It was so funny. We get into the arena. We finally get in, and it took a while, much longer, I think, than it should have to get in the arena, but that's neither here nor there. And then he's like, if I wasn't tall, we would have lost eyes on him in 3 seconds. He was
that
like,
locked in.
Oh my goodness. He was moving. It was like a race walking pace. I even did my.
Was it festival seating? What was the hurry?
He wanted to be there when the curtain went up. He did not want to miss. There's no opening act. He did not want to miss 1 second of.
You had to be locked in.
Yeah, he's a Gabrielite. Locked in. It was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
That's very
fun
good.
Fun little first Friday.
Yeah, that is nice when you get a little event to go with it. Really, all of a sudden, what do you got? One day and you're right back.
One day we're right back, baby.
Right back to it.
Yeah, we get football on this day.
We do. Browns back to practice today. The injury report out yesterday. Watson limited with the shoulder. Ford limited with the shoulder as well. So that's two backs limited. That's Kareem was limited earlier in the week, and then Ford limited now. Any concern there? We'll get to Watson in a second.
I don't believe that there's any concern there. Those guys will be ready to go for the game. No, I don't think there's any concern.
And Deshaun?
I don't have any concern. It was, as you heard Alex.
We will hear.
Yeah. But he did say it earlier that it was on a run play, and it was on a run play that was kind of early on in the game. So he went on to have his best game. So I feel pretty good about that, and that he'll be ready to go. And I think for the Browns, it is a good thing that you get through this game and then you get your bye week. So if there is anything that needs to be rested, he'll get the opportunity to do that in a week. But no
ideal bye
concern.
week is what? Like 9?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's early.
It just kind of, honestly, it depends when you need it as a team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say later it was what you would want. Yeah, definitely.
All right, here are some defense nicknames for you. The Land of Lockdown. Lockdown on the Lake. He's really onto that. This one's pretty good from Richard. Miles Marauders. That's not bad. The Rock Wall. Getting a lot of lockdown on the lakes. Getting a lot of lockdown on the lake. I don't know that's you can't call a defense that.
That's like the secondary. That'd be like the Legion of Boom.
Yeah, I don't know that you could do that on the. That doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the front.
Look at this. Look at them.
All right, let's take a look at this here today.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got a nice jean.
It's a nice
jean.
Yeah, it's a shoe that ends in
beautiful
an A.
blade.
Is
Definitely.
it
No doubt.
lace? It's a boot. It looks like a boot.
No laces.
Oh, no lace. Yeah.
No lace.
So it's
lace free.
It's a lace
It's
free.
a slip on because it's such supple leather.
Supple leather that it doesn't even
From Italy.
need.
Yeah, it doesn't need it.
No, ends in an A. Doesn't matter. Yeah, he's got to go. Did he had a little bit of a look like a little bit of a he's growing a little bit of a facial? Got a little bit going there.
He's getting ready for
the
starting a playoff beard.
Playoff beard. I like
Early.
it. Yeah, I just don't ever shave mine. One thing that we're big fans of.
Same.
I just passed it. Shaved every day for a long time. I'm over it. One of the things that I'm a big fan of, and you were a big fan of, is interesting. I like interesting. So I like when people say things that are interesting. And Roquan Smith, who's a linebacker for the Baltimore Ravens, had something interesting to say. This was his press conference yesterday in Baltimore.
You're considered the bad guy because you're going into essentially another man's house and you're trying to take over, like his wife, kids, everyone there to watch them. So we going over to beat their tails in front of their wife and kids. So when you think about it from that perspective, like any man's going to, fight to the death from that point. I know if that's me in that case, I know I would. So I think about it from that standpoint, and I'm just going in, just like I prepare for any other game. Play to the whistle, play physical, and hit anything that moves.
Let's go.
I like it.
Same.
I like it. This is one of those situations where you don't like what they say. You don't want to be beaten in front of your wife and kids. Beat them.
Shut them up.
Shut them up.
Yeah, that's it. How would you rate your most hated adversaries?
Like, who are my most hated adversaries?
Yeah.
Just in life?
No, of this
This
franchise.
chair right now is pretty high on my list of most
Pedro.
hated. This chair, though.
Chair's right up there. The chairs are almost untenable.
It's becoming
They've
like
been
a detriment to
beaten-
my health.
They've been beaten and bruised,
Like
and
right
battered.
left side of my back.
Yeah.
This chair.
There's nothing left to them. They're done.
Help,
There's-
Gibbe.
Look at that guy. Knew it. There's no pushback. Well, he doesn't have to sit in him. What does
he
get?
has
He's
a
got
brand new
comfortable
chair.
Brand
He
new
has a
chair.
brand new chair.
The head honcho. Take this camera. You can see him sitting in his brand new chair.
Yeah, show him.
Look at him in
Show
there,
him.
just lounging. Oh, let's give it a little scoot. Look at him. He's perfectly comfortable. Comfortable.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just.
What's wrong with your guys' chairs? Mine's great.
Yeah. I'd say this is my
Perfect.
number one adversary, though, no doubt.
Well,
Okay.
I think anytime you have this type of a tilt, there's some. If I'm going to identify the problem, I'm going to tell you this. I think it's a ball bearing problem.
Well, I think that they have been stripped and
Of the entire.
they are malformed.
Yes, they have no structure.
No structure, and even, somehow it's affected.
No integrity.
It's affected this because it's not bending the way that it's supposed to. It's like,
Yeah.
ugh. So that's my number one adversary right now.
Maybe I should
I'll
make
give
you
you
stand.
Hold on,
I
I
mean,
got.
standing is
I'd be
actually-
love
thrilled
standing.
to stand.
If they, in fact, you
You gotta
will
raise
recall
this up, though. We
when
talked about
when
that.
I was consulted
We pitched that.
about this.
We pitched it.
When I was consulted, I said I'd prefer to stand.
Yeah.
I
This
believe
needs
you
to come up.
stand.
I
at
stand
other
in the morning.
obligations.
All morning I stand. Yeah, I prefer that. But you'd have to build a stand on a mic, or you could take the mics from the top
Yes.
down, and then you'd be good too.
Kennedy. Yes, exactly.
See, that's the way you do it.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's exactly why we're not doing
Now
it.
I'm back in this chair of pain.
Back in the pain.
You could adjust it.
No,
we're-
dude.
No. Give me.
Wrong.
These are not adjustable
They're
anymore.
toast.
You know the thing that you bring it up and down? Nothing.
Nothing.
Back
Bubkiss.
and forth. Done. It's over.
I
They've
think
been
you should
broken.
send the bill to Mopedman.
Straight.
Right.
Well, we're all in agreement on the cause
We
of
know
the
the
whole
culprit.
situation.
The culprit is the culprit.
is there.
It is known.
All right, so my number one adversary, lack of on-off cough.
Yep.
Number two adversary, now these chairs.
Yep.
Number three adversary, playing a regular season game at Heinz Field.
That's it. That place is a house of horrors.
Do you know how
Yeah.
many I don't believe in curses but texts I got after that game?
Oh my God.
I believe you may have even penned one of those. I know my boy Jimmy Bang Bang did. Jimmy Reams, he sent me. He said, Z, I don't believe in curses, but that place is cursed.
Dude, it was like the it's like in what I think I said that to you too.
You
like,
may have said, I think you did.
I don't know. I
think
can't make sense of it. Like I don't ever want to go over there again. But it's the line in the original Pirates of the Caribbean. Do you believe in ghost stories? You better start because you're in one.
You're in one.
That's
Yeah.
what it's like over there. You get it is that.
By the way, you have a beautiful Grayson hoodie on right now, and
Yeah.
that
No,
logo.
wait, don't have that. That's
no,
not. No,
it's
no.
a beautiful hoodie.
It's a nice hoodie. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like that wolf sometimes has like the little fake eyes, and so when you're looking at it, it looks like its eyes are like little googly eyes.
Like it's coming at you.
Yeah,
That's
it's a little
pretty good.
disconcerting.
I like that though. I'm for it.
Yeah.
Here's one for you. Over the
By the
next
way, that one's you don't have to worry about that going mainstream. There's a big barrier to entry on that one.
But that's fine.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. next
Ask
5
away.
years, biggest rival for this team over the next 5 years.
I mean, it should be the Bengals.
Yeah.
But it feels like there's just trouble a brewing, and it's not just bad chili down in Cincinnati.
What happened? Did I miss something this morning?
It just feels that way about that. There's a lot of disquietude.
Well, I mean, can you imagine around here if what happened Friday happened around here, where Mike Brown driving on a golf cart tells Joe Burrow to get in the golf cart, drives around in a half circle, Burrow very clearly upset by being asked to get in a golf cart in the middle of practice in front of everybody else.
Right.
And then hops off like while the cart is kind of still moving to continue stretching.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if that happened here?
People would be going nuts.
Yeah.
I just think on Mike Brown's point, like, number one, I get what he's saying. I made this big investment in you, and that's not an investment for week 3 of the 2023 NFL season. But I would also venture that Mike Brown has the ability to say, summon him to his office.
I think that's probably what Joe Burrow would have preferred.
Or do it, right, yeah.
Instead of making a big show
right
about it.
That's right.
Yeah. I think that's probably
and
right.
I know T. Higgins can't be happy. Let's just be honest about it right now. T. Higgins is not a happy camper. And he's playing for and we talked about it. We think his tape's good enough. And there's a long season. But T. Higgins has 10 catches for 110 yards through 3 games this year. But when you really break that down, he's had 2 games where he has been a complete non-factor because he had, I think,
nothing against us.
He had literally nothing against us. And he had against the Ravens 8 for 89 and 2 touchdowns. So the other 2 games are 2 catches for 21 yards total combined.
Yeah.
No, I think that you've heard Jamar Chase complaining. All right, that I don't know. I'm glad they didn't keep Jesse Bates though. But I think it should be them or the Ravens.
Dax Hill's playing really well for them. He's not quite Bates, but he's playing really well. Yeah, it should be. Those should be the 2 teams.
Did you know?
Tell me,
hit
me.
Did you know that Justice Hill, the running back of the Baltimore Ravens, is Dax Hill's brother?
I would not have had that.
Me neither.
Would not have had that. Where did Justice Hill play college?
Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, and Dax went to Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one could be fun. Sunday.
I think it's the Ravens. I believe with Lamar are going to be in the mix. The question is, can Lamar play a full season? Their defense is not what it used to be, but still stout. I mean, you still look at their rankings. Total defense, number 10. Rush defense, number 8. Pass defense, number 11. Points per game, number 8. So they're still a very, very formidable defense. Now, you could say, well, they played Houston. They played a less than 100% Joe Burrow, and they've played Indianapolis.
Yeah.
And he's up Indianapolis with their backup quarterback.
But I think that's right now, I think that's okay. I think that's an upgrade for Indy.
Certainly
Long
from
term,
a throwing standpoint.
and even their chance of losing standpoint.
Yeah.
I think that,
it
it sounds like Richardson's going to play this week, though.
He did step out of the back of the end zone.
He did.
Orlovsky style.
He did. I blame that a little bit on the way those end zones are painted, because it's got the big, thick white
Very
at the
thick,
back of it,
yeah.
and I think sometimes you don't know where does the line
begin.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah,
Sure.
So that's where that is. This from Jade on it is an Ask CBD. It's a mailbag Thursday. This is an Ask CBD from Jade. She wants to know if you and I would be interested in doing a Friends of CBD fantasy league, and they would like us to be in it. This is my answer to this.
It's
I
late
love her to
for
death.
this year.
It's too late for this year. For next year, potentially, I would be into it. This is what I would say, Jade, and I say this affectionately.
Because it's going to be here. You hear that, Gibby?
Well, who's to say I'm not a friend of CBD next year? Maybe I'll just call in once a week. We'll do scores. Let people print money. But I was just make it as easy as possible on me.
Yes. Set it up.
That's
Give us
it.
the date, time, and let's do it.
Interns used to come to me and they'd be like, "Can you write me a letter of recommendation?" I said, "How about you write what you want me to say and I'll sign it."
Intriguing.
Yeah.
I would have put together a
Fine.
dinger of a letter.
I'll read it and I'll sign it. I don't need what.
Like maybe you and I, if you and I had a team together, because I tend to lose focus at times trying to do that and everything else from
That's
a
right.
fantasy football. So maybe like a co-ownership against the Mighty Z.
Well, and then they want all the friends.
All the
Jade wants
friends.
all the friends involved.
We
too.
got lots of
There's
friends.
tons of friends of the program.
But I could
Tons of
help
friends.
you navigate. You can help me. Hey, Gibbs,
I'm
make
for
this
that.
move.
Yeah. I can't be doing any more things. I put a list. I'm capped out.
Are you sure? Because when
I
you
promise
think you're
I'm out.
done,
I'm done.
You're not done.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm at the limit.
I don't think that's
I gotta
gonna
be.
the case.
I got no more time. It's a Mailbag Thursday. Tweet your questions to us at Browns_daily. We'll answer those a little bit later in the show. Those are the hot topics presented by Vivid Seats. Head to Vivid Seats to purchase your brand new premium terrace experience. Your ticket comes with a pregame field pass, parking, all-inclusive food and beverage, $50 Brown Shop gift card. Visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats is an official fan experience partner of your Cleveland Browns. We will do the matchup, our defense, their offense, coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. When a medical mistake causes you injury, call the medical malpractice attorneys at 100 Elk, Ohio. Elk & Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. It is a matchup Thursday presented by Bally Bet, sports betting partner. Your Cleveland Browns now live in Ohio. It is time for the vaunted Browns defense versus this Ravens offense. For the full breakdown, we go to Dr. Z.
All right, let's start off where this Ravens team ranks. Total offense, 12th, 348 yards a game. The number 5 rushing offense, that's no surprise, 158 yards a game. They are the number 24 pass offense, 190 yards a game, 14th in points, 23.7. They've been great on third downs, 51%, great in the red zone, 73%. You got to keep them out of there. They will put the ball on the ground. Now, they've done a good job not allowing a ton of pressure, just 26% this year, third best in the NFL. Now, part of that is because Lamar Jackson is getting the ball out so quickly on these short passes. I talked about yesterday, for those who remember, and congrats if you do, he's completing a career-high 73.3% of his passes, which is second best in the NFL. But he is averaging 7.1 yards per attempt, which is well below his career average of 7.4 when he was completing only 64% of his passes. So it's an underneath thing. And in fact, I charted this yesterday, Bo, and I think you're going to find these numbers to be very interesting.
Let's do it.
I'm just going to give you this. These are the facts that I'm going to give you.
All right.
He attempts 27.3 passes per game. 27.3 passes per game.
All right, I wrote it down.
How many passes per game do you believe of those 27 go more than 10 yards in the air?
So they were second screen for me 2 weeks ago. No, primary, because we were Monday night. So I saw them 2 weeks ago against Cincinnati, their full game, and I saw snippets of their game on Sunday via Red Zone. And so I know that it is a lot of dink and dunk. So 27.3 pass plays per game. I'm going to say 11 are over 10 yards.
7 are more than 10 yards per
Good
game.
Night. That is so nickel dime.
22 of his pass attempts have gone more than 10 yards in the air. 83, so that means 61 have gone less than 10 yards in the air this season. Here's his numbers. Behind the line of scrimmage, through 9 yards in front of him, 49 of 61, 80% completions. 10 to 19 yards. He's done a good job here. 11 of 14, 180 yards and a touchdown, but that's only 5 attempts a game. Less than 5, it's 4.67. And then 20 plus in the air. He's only taken 8 throws of more than 20 yards in the air, 2.6 attempts per game. So they are not putting it in the air down the field very often, which is why he's been kept clean for the most part. But pressure is important because when he's clean, 81%, 8 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 109 rating. Under pressure this year, Lamar Jackson, 38% completions, 3.5 yards per attempt, an interception, and a 21.9 rating. Now, they have really kind of put the ball into the end zone on the ground. Jackson himself has just 2 passing touchdowns this season. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns, though. They have 6 rushing touchdowns. The Browns, as you all well know, have not allowed a single rushing touchdown this season. Who do you got to look out for? Well, they got 4 first-rounders in their wide receiving
They keep trying,
core.
baby.
They keep trying. Zay Flowers, 21 receptions, most through 3 career games in Baltimore Ravens history. That's the guy you got to watch for. But then you go back and you say, wait a second. All these short passes, Zay Flowers is averaging 9 yards a catch. He has a long catch of 52 yards. So if you take that out, it gives you, 136 on 20 catches? That's 6 yards.
Yeah.
6.5 yards a catch. So they're going underneath of them. We'll see if they get Odell back this week. Nelson Aguilar can fly. Remember back in 2020, he had 896 yards, 19 yards a catch, and 8 touchdowns with the Las Vegas Raiders. He has the 1 wide receiver touchdown this year for them, and he's the only other receiver over 100 yards other than Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews, he's got a touchdown, 9 catches, 80 yards, and a score on the season, missed week 1. He is a 3-time Pro Bowler, and he has been a Browns killer. 10 games against the Browns, 7 touchdowns. That's the most he has against any opponent. But last year in 2 games, 3 catches, 31 yards. Now he does have in his 6 games prior to 2022, he had 7 touchdowns and 1 100-yard game, as he was very much the focal point of what they did. So I think it's going to be our ability to get after them. You want to get them into those 3rd and long situations and then get after Lamar. We've already heard, from Jim Schwartz that we're going to take the fight to Lamar. You want to keep him in the pocket. You got to be aware of the designed runs, though. Last week, season high in designed runs, season high in rush attempts, 14, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. So he's got 13 career 100-yard games. 2 of them have come against the Browns. They won both of those games when he did that. But Gus Edwards, would you have this? Would you have this?
Go ahead.
Gus Edwards, amongst all running backs in NFL history with 500 carries,
Okay.
ranks fifth in yards per carry.
I wouldn't have had that, but you've thought about him for a long time. That in a way, he's kind of like the big version of Swift. It's like, why can't he just eat more?
Well, because he's always
He's
been
banged
kind
up.
of he's been banged up, and he's always been in a timeshare. But
why?
Because he's more of a runner. He's not really doesn't give you a whole lot
Yeah.
catching it out of the backfield. He doesn't even have a catch this year.
Yeah.
So he's at 5.2. Nick Chubb, Jamal Charles. I'm blanking on the other one.
Barry?
No, I have. Hold on.
Bo
Jackson.
Bo
Thank
Jackson.
you very much. Bo Jackson.
job out of you, Nick.
And do you know who number 1 is? Here's your hint. He was a former Cleveland Brown, and he is currently active in the National Football League.
D'Ernest?
No.
Looking right at you, so it's got to be from your era.
Yes.
And he's still
And he's
active?
active?
He just scored, I want to say, 4 touchdowns last week.
Mostert?
Raheem Mostert. All-time
When was Mostert
leader
here?
in NFL history in
With-
2014 with Kyle.
With Kyle.
And then we got
I had
rid
no
of him.
idea he was that old.
We got rid of him.
No idea.
Much to the consternation of our coach prior to the coaches show. And he was less than pleased, I would say.
Which coach was less than pleased about that?
Well, we'll let the people figure
We'll
it
let
out.
them figure that out, yeah.
Raheem Mostert, 5.4 yards carry, all-time yards per carry leader in NFL history for any running back with more than
forgot
500 carries.
Wow.
But Gus Edwards is 5th. And Gus Edwards last year, if you remember, he missed all of 21 with an ACL.
Yeah.
His first game back was against us
Yep.
in Baltimore, and he went 16 carries, 66 yards, and a touchdown against us. Last year in 2 games, 23 carries. It's not a lot. And he had 121 yards and a touchdown. Like, he's
formidable.
He's very formidable. So you're going to have to stop him, get them into 3rd and longs, be aggressive after the football. You've got Melvin Gordon, who's fumbled it and lost it 9 times the last 3 years. Lamar is not afraid to lose the ball as well. Lost one last week against Indy, almost lost 2. So we got to get that ball on the ground, but we'll see. They got Ronnie Stanley back and Linderbaum back, so those are their 2, frontline guys. Stanley's a Pro Bowler, first-team All-Pro in 2019, but crazy. He's not played more than 12 games in a season since that 2019 season. Linderbaum, of course, their first-round pick last year, but Sam Mustipher filled in very well for them. But I still think that line is gettable, but you got to be ready for the ball to come out quickly, but at the same time, you don't want it going over your head.
Right.
A lot of their routes are kind of sit down, back to the end zone, numbers to the quarterback routes. And so we got to be careful, be aware of that, because they do a lot of that on first down. It's kind of those drive starts, those 6-7 yard plays.
What do you think how would you articulate the biggest difference between what they're doing now offensively with Todd Monken and what they did previously offensively?
More straight drop back, more straight drop back, fewer quarterback design runs, more of just like a spread passing attack.
Yeah. And they spread them out and
They'll create space. Ricard, I said it yesterday, I think. Ricard only played 19 snaps last week. He was playing, 50% of the snaps last year.
Yeah.
So just a different, it's a much more Lamar's offense. And that's kind of the thing that, when you listen to the broadcast that they kept talking about Lamar, that he's comfortable, he's given, freedom, he likes it, it's more spread out, it's more, in his hands. But some things to keep an eye on, though, by the way, Browns fans, if you want to do. Myles Garrett, if he gets a sack, that'll be his 11th in the last 7 home games, and he'll be the second fastest ever to 80 sacks, tying T.J. Watt for that second fastest ever in 88 games. Denzel gets a pass defense, 10th straight game with a pass to breakup. That is the longest active streak in the NFL right now at 9. Second place is 4.
Denzel has been, and from the start of the season, the best mirror corner in the league.
Oh, yeah, the route that you saw
Stunning.
Matt Bowen tweeted out about it. Ryan Clark's been talking about it. Just the back pedal and then the break on that deep dig.
He's got a chance to be all-pro. Like that would be something for him if he could get one of those, get a second team All Pro I mean, he's gonna be, if he stays healthy, he's to be a Pro Bowler. But like, being fun to get like an All Pro out of him based on where he's at.
I'll tell you what. That's one area where I think Pro Football Focus this year is like, he's like the 39th corner in the league in their grades, which seems odd. MJ Emerson's nowhere near it, and the guy we just talked about has given up on the season 25% completion, 39 rating, and has only allowed one reception for every 29 cover snaps.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, by the way, just turned 23 yesterday.
You like that?
I do like that.
Big weekend in the North in terms of how critical this division game, always going to be critical anyway. We're hosting the Ravens. The other two are out of the division. The Bengals are at Tennessee, and then the Steelers are at Houston. So Pittsburgh will be favored, obviously, to go to 3-1 with that operation. And then the Bengals trying to get it to even Steven if they can at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Which I would think Tennessee would have a hard time blocking their line. The way theirs isn't as good as ours, but it's in the vicinity.
No, but it's
so I think
formidable.
it could be a long day for them.
That's what allowed them to beat the Rams ultimately.
Yeah, it did. And so the point being that this division is starting to it flexed a little bit. Another chance to flex this weekend.
Yeah, and we need to win, then we can flex right atop it.
Yep, that's what you got to do. All right, coming up next, we get your Fantasy Minute. We go around the league as well, get you set for Thursday Night Football. Still time for the matchup. The other side as well, our offense versus their defense. Lots to get to here. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.
Cleveland?
Does your furry friend have what it takes to beat out the competition under the dog race sweepstakes presented by Milkbone? For a chance to have your pup compete in the annual halftime dog races, visit clevelandbrowns.com/contest to enter. Check out more from Milkbone at your local grocer or pet supply stores. Speaking of dogs, last night I'm getting ready to go to the youth sports, and I'm in the bedroom in the back, and I hear my wife scream.
Okay.
At a level that is alarming.
Yeah.
And that I rarely ever hear her scream. I can't run out right away for various reasons. I then start hearing the boys scream.
Okay.
For me, for anyone. Help, help, Dad, blah. So I come running out of the bedroom. Okay. My wife is in tears now. My wife is in tears. Bootsy is running around like Kevin from Home Alone. She kind of can get it out. She's amidst screaming and crying, Buddy's eating a bird, Buddy's eating a bird. So I go,
going to be something really crazy.
So I go,
yeah.
And?
He's a dog.
He's a dog. Now, I go out. She runs to the room. Bootsy, Kevining, Beamsy, of course, he's
too sensitive.
He's
Yeah,
out.
he's
He's
out.
upstairs. He's in his room. He's not paying attention to it. He's got no interest. Stays away from the chaos. NBC is outside trying to like handle Buddy,
Talk to Buddy. Yeah.
and like get some sense to him.
Let that bird go.
Right, just we're good. So he's outside on the porch. I open the sliding glass door, and what we had was, first of all, I do not think Buddy is a bird murderer. I don't think he did the act. I think that the act was done, and he said, "Hey, Dad, here's a fun toy. What do you think? Look what I found."
By the way, so what?
Same. Again, I'm not going to convict him. He's a retriever.
Little Asa Woody,
it's his
who's
job.
a 12, 13-pound
Yeah.
Jack Russell Chihuahua. We were taking her home from a walk one day. This little bird's going around, and she's kind of chasing it, and the kids were like, "Don't let her chase the bird." I'm like, what's she going to do? Catch this bird? Boom, right out of midair. Left as it was
Nailed it.
flying. Got it.
Good for
Done.
Ace.
By the way, hey, bird, fly higher.
Fly higher. You have wings?
You have wings.
No one's stopping you.
Nobody's stopping you.
This thing was mangled. Like, it felt like a bird anatomy class.
He was trying to
There
get
were
a
no
little-
feathers
a little
on
pheasant.
It was all just like carcass and
Did
like
he get some meat?
oozing things.
yeah.
It was a gross cleanup. Gross. The yelling was so loud that my neighbor, who's probably a football field away, yells over. She's like, "Bo, is everything okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, Buddy ate a bird. That's all. We're fine. Nothing to see here."
It feels like it's the way that it sounded was.
I thought a
as though-
child had broken a limb.
Yeah, right. So you're thinking catastrophic. I'm going to the hospital. The night
Yeah,
was ruined
for sure. Yeah.
Or Buddy, something bad.
Or Buddy
Tragedy.
did something tragic.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
She's like, "What if he gets avian flu?" I'm like, "He's fine."
What if he gets avian flu?
If she'd like to really be horrified, bring Buddy on over to the homestead. Sunday, Saturday. It was Saturday. I'm inside, and my wife just is like, "Jason!" And she like, number one,
Not a lot of that.
calling me Jason, and like yelling, and I'm like, "What did I do?"
Yeah.
And I come out, and Roxy's got a groundhog,
Oh boy.
and killed it.
And did it. And
Yeah.
She was the murderer in
Yeah,
this instance.
She
Yeah.
literally is shaking it, and I'm like, that thing's about half as big as she is.
Yeah.
No big deal.
But she wouldn't eat it, right?
No,
She would just
she
catch
just
it
dropped
and
it and was
dropped
like-
it and was like,
came
"Hey,
over,
look, I got a
tail wagging,
toy."
like, "Hey, look
look
what I
did.
got."
Look what I did, Dad.
Yeah.
Jeez,
I'm like,
what a moment.
oh,
I said, there's
I'm
going to
gonna-
be a lot more. Going to be a lot more.
He
He's going to
is
get
a
some snakes.
retriever.
He's going to go get things and bring it in. That's the way it goes. Got to keep an eye on it.
At
Absolutely
least
priceless.
did he bring it into the house?
Brought it to the porch, right to the
Okay.
door.
All right.
So did not
Didn't
get
bring
in.
it in?
It would have been. It was a hose cleanup. So it was
Oh,
a
man,
shovel
yeah.
hose in
And
order
I-
to get
I
it.
had to do the shovel thing.
Yeah, shovel. I mean, it's fine. Oh my God! I
Yep.
forgot. She goes, "Are you going to bury it?"
No.
I said, "No, we're not having a vigil.
No.
We're throwing it into the woods, and it's going to feed some other animal." All right, let's hit your Fantasy Minute presented by Scaleco Capital. Scaleco Capital, investing locally in the Midwest. Z, who you got tonight, buddy? What are they doing with at running back?
So yeah, it's still unclear. So I've seen reports that said David Montgomery is going to play. Tom
think
Pelissero,
Pelissero, right?
Yeah, he said he expects him to suit up. He had one earlier in the day that Montgomery were not on track to play, even though he's tagged at limited participants the last two. It looks like he'll be ready to return from his absence. I just don't know. Like, I don't know. Coming back from a thigh bruise, I don't know. Christian Watson supposedly is making his return. To me, you're only playing those guys if you absolutely have to. If you've got reasonable, healthy, where you get the picture options, that's who you play. So I would not be interested in going with those guys today. When you look at this week in the fantasy world, I'll give you some people to get after here. Quarterbacks that I like, maybe better than a little bit than the average or the consensus. I know you're going to not want to do it. Play Justin Fields again. It's Denver. Play Justin Fields again. You got to do it. I also don't mind at all Russell Wilson in that same game. That should be a good fantasy game. And I think tonight, Jordan Love, of the two quarterbacks, I like Jordan Love as well tonight.
He's this year's Fields. If you watch him play, if you actually watch the Packers play, you're like, my God, he's not accurate. But he will score 27 fantasy points a week because they run with him and they run with him in the red zone.
Running backs this week. Raheem Mostert is a must-start at this point.
Yeah.
Now, Jeff Wilson's going to come back. They've got Achane. Who knows what's going to – or Achane. Is it Achane?
Achane? I think.
No, it's not Chain anymore. He got rid of
Achane?
Achane.
Okay.
Devin Achane.
Okay.
But you still got to play Mostert. Kenneth Walker's blowing up for Seattle. Play him. Zach Moss. This might be his last week. Who knows what happens with Jonathan Taylor. But all Zach Moss did was become the only running back to run for 100 yards on this Baltimore Ravens team. Last week, he ran for over 100, 30 carries, 122, and had 2 catches for 23 and a touchdown. He beat Patrick Queen on a little wheel route, which maybe you'll see there. Alvin Kamara, I say go with it. He's back. Roll with it. And I think Javonte Williams, you guys have been holding on to him for so long, and he's done nothing.
Nothing.
Against the Bears. Come on.
Sad, Guru. Sad.
He's got to be able to get in there. Wide receivers, you're starting both of the guys with the Rams, Nakua and Tutu Atwell. You're keeping them in your lineups. Adam Thielen at this point, based on volume, is somebody that you have to play week in and week out. The last 2 weeks, Adam Thielen, I don't know if Gibbe would have this, 23 targets, 18 catches, 199 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, he's going.
So you got to play him. So those are some of the guys that I like at wide receiver. If you need some tight ends, and everybody does really, unless you have Kelsey and Hawkinson, Sam Laporta, if he is somehow on your waiver wire, thank Uncle Bo for that one. He gave it to us early this year. Get Sam Laporta, get him in your lineups. Hunter Henry is playing very well as well for the New England Patriots, so you can go with him. And there you go. Defense this week, I like Cincinnati as a pickup.
Nicholas Lucarelli tweets the show, Nathan, I have Amon-Ra and Higgins. Who do you start at QB, Burrow or Goff?
Goff's at Indy, Burrow's at Tennessee.
Goff's Green Bay, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Tonight.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I thought you said, for some reason, I had Stafford on the brain. Yeah.
If you want to do a little bit of a hedging your bet, I guess you would go Amon. I think you're playing Amon-Ra because he's just so consistent.
Yeah, he plays.
And
no
then
matter
you can go with Burrow at quarterback and just hope that they get it going. And that way, if Higgins still has a good game, you're like, okay, all right, he still got that.
All right, that was your Fantasy Minute presented by Scaleco Capital. Scaleco Capital, investing locally in the Midwest.
I mean, it is wild when you look at these rankings. I mean, it is pretty consensus that Burrow's currently now not viewed as a top 12 quarterback, which is wild.
It's the worst thing that can happen in fantasy sports is you have somebody who feels like a sure thing.
Yeah.
They have an injury, and you feel like, how can I not play him?
Yeah.
Eventually, he's going to pop out of it, and he will. Eventually, he'll come out of it. He'll be healthy. He'll have a big game.
Yes.
But it's like, in the meantime, how long do you tread water waiting for that to happen?
Well, at some point, you have to say, remove the name and just look at the facts of the
Right.
matter and say, would I be playing this guy if his name was Joe Schmo?
And you would not.
No, he'd be on the bench. He would be
You
on
would
the
not.
bench.
No.
By the way, Jade McRae.
Yep.
I'll never forget the day my dog came back with a baby kangaroo in its mouth when I lived back in Australia. She was so proud of herself.
Jeez.
Sad. Little Joey.
I mean,
Look at Joey.
A little Joey.
You're talking about birds and like groundhogs.
Well, they're
Bring it
living
back.
Well, I think
in
they're quite-
Australia, dude.
Listen, in the Columbus Zoo, they've got this place where those things are
Yes.
they run free, and you walk in there. I'm always leery. Heads on a swivel around those guys. You see those guys looking at you, and they
Yep.
stand up. I'm all right.
I have no beef with you.
I don't know anything
want
about how
anything
your
a part of you.
operation is. That tail
Yep.
makes me nervous. I'm not familiar with your kind.
Yep.
I keep a good distance. I keep a very good distance. This is a funny one. Red, among other things, enjoys Buddy as his name being Buddy Garrity. He said, was it a raven foretelling?
Oh, baby. I like it.
Oh,
I like that. I like that.
I like that. It was not a raven. It was a cardinal of some sort. it
Oh,
appeared to be.
no.
Oh,
That's
that's
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cardinals have very good agents. If they're red, then they're pretty. Like if I would have said sparrow, you guys wouldn't have had any reaction at all.
You're
No.
right.
Jared, look at the smirk on Bo's face, knowing that his dog led to the demise of a small part, his avian counterpart.
Yeah, you
Also
like
not
that.
a problem.
You like that.
I have no problem with it.
I just came across something and looking up the fantasy stuff.
Yeah.
This is from our good friend Andrew Siciliano.
Yep.
Did you know? I'm going to give you Tua Tagovailoa's numbers in 2022
Okay.
and 2023 through 3 games. Okay.
Okay.
You'll write this down so you can compare them.
Wait, give me a pen. I'm going to write this down.
Okay,
Go
you
ahead.
ready?
Yep.
2022 3-0 record.
Yep.
72 for 101 passing, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. That's 2022.
Okay.
All right, 2023, you ready?
Yep.
3-0 record,
Yep.
72 of 101 passing, 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Oh, come on. What's the yardage difference, I wonder? That's amazing that it's that similar. I wonder how the
Hold on.
you
Give me
pull
a
up
second.
you pull up this
Give me a
year, I'll
second.
pull up last year.
Keep him upright, and the world is your oyster.
That's just outrageous, though. To be 72 of 101 both seasons. There we go. So this year he's at 1,024.
All right, so I'm going to need a game log
I got you. I think
from
I'm
last year.
Yeah, I think I'm there. I'm here. Last year, first 3 weeks, 270 plus 469, 739. 739 plus 186. So 739, that would be 25. 925. So he's 99 yards ahead this year.
Wow. That's consistent, buddy.
That's wild. So you look for in the golf course, baby.
The only thing I've ever seen, the most consistent stretch of like professional athlete I've ever seen was there's a stretch from Albert Pujols where he hits 330, 48 home runs, 130 RBI. It's like 5 straight years.
Oh, I
It's just
saw
in
it in
a couple of
person.
home runs, a couple of RBIs, and a couple of batting average for like 5 years in a row. He did it with St. Louis.
Crazy stretch.
Yeah. He was absolutely remarkable. NFL, this is around the league. The NFL typically doesn't make trades like the one yesterday, the 3-team blockbuster that we saw. Adam Schefter saying the closest trade we might have seen was 1987, a 3-team trade with the Bills, Rams, and Colts.
So
I remember this.
So I just sent you guys the
missed
tweet
it.
with the info. This was the big Eric Dickerson trade.
Yeah. Yep.
So the Rams traded Eric Dickerson. They got running backs Greg Bell and Owen Gill.
Great.
They got a number 1 from Buffalo in '88 that turned into Gaston Green.
That was the one that they thought gassed because he was a University of Miami kid. I think
Yep.
the hope was that he could replace Dickerson.
They got a number 1 from Indy that turned into Aaron Cox, wide receiver. They got a number 2 from Indy. They got a number 1 in 1989 that turned into Cleveland Gary, running back.
He had 3 1s, 3 2s, and 2 players for a running back.
Hold on. They got Frank Stamms.
Frank
they
Stamms.
got a second-round pick. They got 3 2s, 3 1s, and 2 players.
So then the question becomes, because this is not, it's not as similar. It's not the haul that the Vikings gave to the Cowboys for Herschel Walker,
Yeah.
which is the greatest haul and led to a dynasty being created. But you say to yourself, well, who won this thing, right? So Dickerson is coming off of at the time of this deal in his 1987 season with the Rams. He gets traded mid-season here, but so let's go to 86 was his last full season with the Rams. He's 1,821 yards and 11 touchdowns. He's a monster, right?
Yeah.
He's 2 years removed from 2,100. His rookie year, Dickerson ran for 1,808 and 18 touchdowns as a rookie. So his first season in Indy, he leads the NFL in carries. He rushes for 1,659 and 14 touchdowns. The next year in Indy at age 29, he's 1,311 and 7, and then it falls off a cliff.
Can I just – here's what I don't understand. So the Colts give up Owen Gill a 1 and 2 2s and the rights to Cornelius Bennett. So they get Eric Dickerson, and that's what they give up. The Bills basically gave up Greg Bell, a 1 and 88, a 1 and 89, and a 2 and 89 for Cornelius Bennett.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was really good.
good.
Two
but I don't
ones and a
think-
two?
But I don't know that people view draft picks the way that we did. It wasn't until Jimmy Johnson reset in '89 what draft picks were worth.
So he was a 5-time Pro Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, he was notable. He was really good on those
One-time All-Pro.
on those Bills defenses. He
Never
was
had a
quite good.
double-digit sack season, but yeah, was quite good.
Did
But
the
still.
Colts win this?
Well, for the immediate, Dickerson ran for 1,600 and then
The Rams
1,200 the
won
next
it.
year. Well, but I don't know if the Rams won or not because
Did-
what
were
did they
any
do
of
with
those
any of the
players
picks?
good?
Right. They didn't do anything good, right?
You know, I just think in those days, like if you're Marty McFly or you're Biff, right, and you steal the time machine, you go back. If you to take like everything you know about the NFL, everything you know about building a roster, and drop into 1986, and we say, hey, this is how we're going to do it, which is basically what Jimmy Johnson did in '89.
Yeah, you could-
Give me all the assets. I'm going to put a scouting department together, real scouting department. We're going to have the analytics. We're going to study these guys. You'd run circles around it.
Oh, yeah.
There's like 2 scouts a team going gut feeling, talking to Joe Paterno in State College. You know,
Right.
that's
Yeah,
what
no,
it
you
was. Like it was a totally different time.
Cornelius Bennett.
So they
may have been the best
failed
player
on
in
ones
this.
a lot,
Yeah.
even more than now.
So he was
Bennett was probably had the biggest the longest staying power, most meaningful career post trade of anyone involved.
Former Browns linebacker Frank Stamms was part of that.
By the way, Eric Dickerson and Bennett both number 2 overall picks in the draft. Cornelius Bennett was the 2nd pick in that draft. I mean,
Who went ahead of Dickerson?
let's see.
Coming out of S had to be a quarterback. That'd have been like 80.
1983. The 1983
Oh, that's the all-time quarterback. That's Elway.
NFL draft. Elway.
That's Marino goes in the second round, or in the late in the 20s.
Yep.
Ken O'Brien's in that draft. Todd Blackledge is in that draft.
Jim Kelly.
Jim Kelly refusing to play in Buffalo, plays for the Houston Gamblers instead.
And then comes back and reunites with Cornelius Bennett. And
Yeah, they all
gets to a lot of Super Bowls.
comes full circle.
So they had 6 Hall of Famers drafted in the first 14 picks. Elway, Dickerson, Jimbo Covert, Bruce Matthews. Actually 5. Jim Kelly. Other notables there, the running back Kurt Warner of the Seahawks,
yeah.
who actually had a fine career.
Yep.
Um,
The Steelers could have drafted Marino though, and he played at Pitt.
Yeah.
the Steelers
Backyard.
could have. They took Gabe Rivera,
Oh God.
nose tackle. So the last 2 picks of the first round were Dan Marino and Darryl Green,
Jeez.
2 Hall of Famers.
Darryl Green doesn't get mentioned enough for his greatness. He played in that era with Prime, and he wasn't as showy or anything, but he was lights out.
He was lights
I
out.
mean, it pains me. Thank God it never happened. But like the Squealers would have been relevant for like 4 decades.
Oh my God!
In the 80s,
Marino
that-
from '84
Yeah.
to '97.
Yeah.
in Pittsburgh.
Thank
Good
God.
night. No, we didn't. We needed to have some victories in the '80s there, buddy.
Yeah. This from Rich Samini.
Mm-hmm.
With Taylor Swift reportedly scheduled to attend Jets Chiefs Sunday night,
Yep.
Vivid Seats saw a 173% increase in traffic. The average Taylor Swift concert ticket at MetLife, $1,332. The average now for Chiefs at Jets is $232. Hey, everybody.
not getting
that
here.
game
She ain't
sucks.
singing.
Sucks.
yes, she is not.
What do you
going
want to do?
sing.
Just so you can turn around and see her?
By the way, if you're the Jets, like, I feel like it's a little bit of a quandary because you don't want to put her up on the Jumbotron because she's going to be in Chiefs gear.
Right.
Did you see the Kelsey brothers having fun with this?
Oh,
yeah.
spectacular.
That's great.
So good, so good.
Have you
it
seen
is-
all the videos of like? There's one I can send you one. You're not on the gram anymore. There's one where the guy's in full like military fatigues and he's come back and his wife is telling him how excited she is that how nice Taylor Swift is. She's putting Travis Kelce on the map, and the guy's like, he's on the map. He's the best tight end in football. He's won Super Bowls.
Yeah.
He's on the map. She's like, no, he's not. That's so great. And he's like, I just stop all of this. Like I can't just stop talking. He's like, I can't deal with it. It was hilarious.
Same. I agree. It's a Mailbag Thursday. Tweet us your questions. We'll get to those coming up shortly. Join Z and Gerard, West Park Station Live. Kevin Stefanski Show tonight at 7. Compliments of Bud Light. Martin Emerson, MJ Emerson, going to join the program as well. Dr. Z, you have a question?
Yeah, little quick update from Baltimore, courtesy of Jeff Zreback. Justice Hill, the running back who had missed last week with a toe injury, and then their dominant safety, Kyle Hamilton, both were back at practice today. Still not practicing, Odell Beckham Jr., Rashad Bateman, Marlon Humphrey, Odafe Owe, and David Ojabo. So that means they're-
tomorrow will be the one to really watch.
So that means
on those guys.
Ronnie Stanley and Linderbaum are back. It looks like Justice Hill could be back. That's not a big deal. Kyle Hamilton, I think, was going to miss. The big one that's not getting talked about enough is that Marcus Williams will be back. He's missed the last 2 games. Marcus Williams is a stud free safety for them. That is a big return. But still no Marlon Humphrey. That's big because their secondary, I think, is those corners are gettable.
The guy who'll be in charge of getting those corners is our offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt. You'll hear from him coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. The Browns, avocados from Peru, and Meyer want you to enter the Ultimate Football Sweepstakes. Your chance to win a 2023 Ford Lightning electric pickup truck, VIP tour, cross-country mortgage campus, and a $1,000 Meyer gift card. Visit your local Meyer or clevelandbrowns.com/avocados for more. Now let's head to the podium and offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt.
Alex, can you,
You guys are down.
if you can, about how Deshaun may have hurt his shoulder and what the outlook is for maybe him practicing today or where that's
Yeah,
at?
I think it came, I'm not exactly sure, one of the runs that he had, took a hit on the safety, but yeah, we'll see today. We'll see how he feels when we get out there, but we're confident he'll be able to go Sunday. We'll see how he's feeling today when we get out.
What was that 10-yard run, you think, right before the Jerome TD?
I believe so, yeah. Not exactly sure, to be honest with you. I know he got hit on it.
Knowing what you've seen of Deshaun so far, I mean, there's no way he's staying out of this game, right?
I wouldn't expect that, no.
DTR putting him in Sunday, was that a byproduct of Deshaun's shoulder, or was that a, hey, we had this thing wrapped up in hand, let's give DTR some burn?
Try to get him in there, get him some work in a game that we felt like we were in control of at that point, and had nothing to do with that.
When the trainers had to come out for Deshaun earlier in the game, and he ended up staying in, but do you immediately go to DTR and start coaching him up in that situation?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a really, as a backup, as soon as that guy goes down, I was, well, shit, where's my helmet? I got to get my helmet. Your mouth starts to get a little dry. You think you're going in. So it was a good test run for him. But, yeah, as soon as that happens, it's the beauty of the backup. You're expected to come in and it really just, you don't have time to warm up. You got to go and get hot quick. So it was a good little dry run for him to have that experience, and then to get him in the game later was awesome.
Alex, how much of a work in progress is it to kind of figure out how you want to use Kareem and Jerome and even Pierre, just kind of how you want to divide up those touches?
Yeah, I think it'll flow each week to see how we're going. As Kareem gets in better shape, I'd assume he'd get more touches moving forward. But really just want to keep a fresh back in at all times, whether it's first, second, or third down.
Jerome Green, nice little route for when he scored the touchdown, but that part of his game, how much higher do you think his ceiling is there in the pass game, and how excited are you guys to kind of, experiment with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's a weapon out of the backfield as well, in the pass game for sure. He's been impressive since he's been here, running routes out of the backfield and catching the ball. So that's an area where he'll continue to grow.
What are your thoughts on Deshaun's game from Sunday? Why did it go better this time?
That's a tough one. I wish I could know that exactly. I'd bottle it and sell it. But yeah, he just played confident. I thought we had a great plan going in. I thought he had owned the plan across the board, knew exactly what we're trying to get done, and was really made great decisions throughout the whole game. To have 6 incompletions and 2 of those be throwaways, that's a really good day. So, that's the blueprint moving forward. It's not always going to go that smoothly, we know that, but that was a really strong day of decision-making, accuracy, everything that comes with quarterback play.
Elijah's had 9 targets on Sunday. Just kind of how have you seen him handle kind of bouncing back and forth between more of either receiver role or running back role, and how you guys are using him?
Yeah, we ask a lot out of Elijah because we know he can handle it. That's the thing. So as we keep growing with him, we'll keep finding ways to get the ball in his hands. He's a very good runner after the catch, whether it's handing it to him in the backfield, throwing him a short route, bubbles, whatever that is. We're going to try to get him as many touches as we can throughout the course of a game.
After the game, Watson said he felt more composed. He controlled his emotions. He wasn't over celebrating good plays and all. As a coach, can you change that, or is that up to him to fix his emotions?
I can help. I can definitely help. I didn't do a great job in Pittsburgh, and that's something I learned from. But moving forward, I think he has that understanding. You can't play the position like a linebacker all the time. So, holding your emotions and just really resetting and moving on to the next play, the next series. That's something we all learned from in that game.
Deshaun and Amari talked about the communication that they have on the field and how Amari has been able to kind of talk him through some things. As a coach, how important is that to have a guy that can kind of read the field for him and help him as the game plays out?
Veteran receiver like Amari is awesome. Came to us very early in that game and said, hey, I think I can get by these guys outside. And he was right. So some of the routes that we had that were shorter, we adjusted and went to the deeper version of the routes, and it really paid off for us. But you're always going to listen to a guy like Amari. He's got a ton of experience. He's not going to tell you something just to get the ball. He knows how important it is to give us real looks and real thoughts, and he does. And then we obviously have a lot of respect for him. And if he says it, we'll give it a shot for sure.
What would you have done differently in Pittsburgh to keep Deshaun a little bit more centered and anchored?
And I could have probably reset him a few more times than as opposed to just letting him be upset and angry, at times. So, I put that on myself as much as anything. That relationship that we have to have on game day has to be very, calm, and just going from play to play after each series and just talking through things and getting them ready for the next series. I could have definitely done better.
Seen from the Ravens defense dealing with all the injuries, they had to make a bunch of adjustments there.
Yeah, I mean they're beat up with the injury bug. It's just the way it goes in this league. They're good. They've been doing what they do for a long time within their scheme. They're tough to get ready for. There's just a lot. It's a lot of defense they put on the field, fronts, coverages, pressures, everything. So anytime you get ready for a Baltimore defense, you're going to spend the extra hours getting ready because they present you with a lot of different looks, and they're very sound in their scheme, and they understand what they're doing, regardless if the starters are in there or not.
It seems like you guys were force-feeding Elijah Moore a little bit Sunday. Do you guys think it's just a matter of time before he pops home with all his explosive ability?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I do. I mean, he is dynamic with the ball in his hand. He's going to make guys miss at times, and he's got the speed to run away. So matter of time before he pops a big one.
Even without Marlon, are those guys in the back end as physical as they usually are with the receivers?
They are. 21 plays really physical on the left side. The guys on the right, they're kind of rotating in and out, but it's a physical defense. That's one thing we've talked about. Play a lot of man coverage at times, so we have to be able to beat man when they give us those opportunities outside. But they will definitely get up in your face at the line of scrimmage and make it tough for you to release.
What are you seeing out of Clowney? How's he fit with that?
Back at 30.
Good. I mean, he's a dynamic guy. He's explosive and quick and long. There's a lot of things that that he can be disruptive on, but he looks like the same guy.
The Hamilton blitzed a lot from the nickel position. I know he didn't practice yesterday, but is that something? Was it a one-game thing you think for them? He didn't show it, I don't think, before that.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think they're kind of feeling through their injuries as well. I mean, he was playing safety earlier in the season, then with the injury, moved down into the nickel spot, and I think they feel like he's a good blitzer, and he is. So they're probably just.
You're up.
All right, that's your offensive coordinator, Alex Van Pelt. Now for the matchup presented by Bally Bet, sports betting partner, your Cleveland Browns, now live in Ohio. We go to Dr. Z.
All right, let me talk to you. Browns on offense, number 10 total offense, number 4 rushing attack, number 21 passing. They are 11th in scoring, 22nd on third downs. Now, the good news is the Ravens are 24th on third down defense. Browns 3rd in the red zone, so that's very good. The Ravens, solid D so far. Total D 10, rush D 8, pass D 11, points per game 8th. They will play a lot of man coverage. They're currently playing 40% man coverage. That is the 5th most in the NFL. They are running cover 0 blitzes on 9.5% of plays. That is 3rd most in the NFL. So they are not afraid to bring the house and try to get at you. So who do they got? Well, not a whole lot of names you know. Only 2 Pro Bowlers on the defense. Roquan Smith a year ago. Marlon Humphrey as well, but Marlon Humphrey is out. And then you think about guys who've ever been to a Pro Bowl at any point in their career. The only other one is Jadeveon Clowney. So that's what they've got. That's who they are. Not a ton of talent, but they have gotten it done. They're very big up front. Michael Pierce in the nose tackles, 355. Broderick Washington's 315. They got Travis Jones out of UConn at 338. Justin Matabike, 305. So they're big up front. 3-4. They'll have the 2 stand-ups on the outside. Now it's Owe and Ojabo are the starters, but Jadeveon Clowney, I imagine, is going to play a lot in this one. He's got 1.5 sacks so far this year, 13 pressures to lead the team. Now what's interesting is they just signed Kyle Van Noy, and you wonder how much he will play, because if Ojabo and Owe are out, it's going to be Clowney and then either Tavius Robinson, their 4th-round pick this year out of Ole Miss, who's the first player to ever be drafted from the University of Guelph in Ontario.
All right.
I don't know if I said that right. Guleph.
You'd need the ambassador. Cool. I wouldn't have a point of reference.
No idea. Or it's going to be Jeremiah Moon, who sounds like he should be the brother of Jackie Moon, with
baby.
the Tropics. He is in his first year out of Florida as an undrafted free agent a year ago. Neither of them have a career sack. In fact, Moon made his NFL debut last week. So they are down pass rushers. Now, Van Noy's a pro. He's had 5+ sacks in 4 straight seasons, but he was just signed this week. So there's shape and then there's football shape, as we all well know. In their secondary, Kyle Hamilton, unbelievable. 3 sacks, tied the single-game record for a defensive back. Last time person to do it was Jamal Adams. He is the youngest ever to do it. He had 2 sacks versus the Browns last year, 1 in each game. Those were his only sacks as a rookie. But so far, he leads the team with 3 sacks. He's got a pass defense. He's got a forced fumble, 2 tackles for loss, 3 quarterback hits. He's all over the place. So he's done very well. Then they get Marcus Williams back. Marcus Williams had 4 picks in 10 games for them a year ago, 19 interceptions total. He's got 2 or more interceptions every season. That's big. Corners, gettable. Brandon Stevens, last week, targeted 12 times, 9 catches, 93 yards. He'll start for Marlon Humphrey. I think the Browns can test him, a third-round pick out of SMU. Then you've got Ronald Darby, a veteran he's on his 5th team. I think you can go after Darby, 8 career interceptions. Rock Yassin, 2 career interceptions. He didn't play much. And then they've got Geno Stones, the other safety. He has Baltimore's only interception this season. But this is not a great secondary. Their pass rush without Owe and Ojabo, actually, that takes a hit. Owe was averaging 4 pressures a game, even though he hadn't gotten a sack yet. He was averaging 4 pressures a game. And Ojabo had, in 2 games, a sack, a hit, a couple of pressures, many tackles. So those guys were big in what they're doing. Now, best part of this defense, the linebackers. They have the 2 best inside linebackers in the NFL.
Yep.
I think maybe the Niners, Warner and Greenlaw.
These are the AFC equivalent.
This is the AFC equivalent. Roquan Smith, Pro Bowler, All-Pro. Last year, 169 tackles. John Harbaugh said he is the best leader that I've coached since Ray Lewis.
Wow.
Which is a big statement from him. And then Patrick Queen last year, 117 tackles, 5 sacks. He had a sack against the Browns, so you got to watch out for him. Those guys play every single snap.
Yep.
So they will be out there, and so that's what you got to do. For the Browns, your ground game last week wasn't obviously what it had been earlier in the season. The Browns, first 2 weeks with Nick Chubb, averaging 37.5 carries, 202 yards, 5.4 yards a carry. Last week, 31 rushes, 78 yards, 2.5. But don't forget, Tennessee has been a historic run defense. And really what you want to see continue, this is the trend to watch, from a clean pocket. All quarterbacks struggle from pressure, but from a clean pocket. Deshaun Watson, weeks 1 and 2, 62.5% completion, 6 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, 84 rating. Last week, 92%, 9.9 yards per attempt, 2 touchdowns, 134.7 rating. You want to look at Tequila, feel like swashbuckling. Was that a little fencing? Was that a little fencing?
Swashbuckling Thela. My God.
You got to love Tequila. But how about Amari
He's like
Cooper?
a Northeast Ohio Zorro.
He is. I like that. He could be my sidekick. My Zorro sidekick.
You could be Zorro. He could be Bernardo.
Yeah, Bernardo. Yeah.
Get you a couple of trusty steeds.
Amari Cooper has now 6 games with 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
As a member of the Cleveland Browns.
He's good.
90 plus the last 2 games. He only had 1 game with 90 yards with Deshaun Watson in 2022. That was the big game with 105 against Washington.
All right, Pet Supplies Plus giving you a chance to win tickets for home games all season while providing the best deals for your pet. 75 plus stores in Ohio. Enter to win tickets at clevelandbrowns.com/pet supplies plus. Receive a coupon to use at your local store with your entry. Pet Supplies Plus, proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. The mailbag coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland.
It's
It's a Mailbag Thursday presented by Cross Country Mortgage, official mortgage partner of your Cleveland Browns when it comes to financing. They're going to get you home. Visit ccm.com today. Equal housing opportunity, NMLS 3029. Hello, Gibby.
Hi, boys. Little mailbag. Nope.
Gibby.
There you go.
See, we should have an on-air light. Should be real easy.
I still feel like you'd screw it up.
Well, let's try it.
Let's try it. Find out.
See what happens.
Test that theory. You've been given the green light by the biggest luminary possible.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
And?
This chair is awfully cozy, and my mic works.
Well, actually, you've had more trouble than anybody recently. If we're going to be,
this part
honest
is
about
also-
it,
this part is
If we're
also
honest
true.
about it. It's been on the struggle bus for you.
What were you going to say? I thought you had something.
I don't know.
Okay, great.
I was
Banana,
just gonna
squirrel.
saying.
Something
I was just wondering if the
distracted.
people are going to be sad seeing me stretch so much. Back pain.
Get it worked out. Yeah.
All right, tweet your questions to @Browns_daily. A few
That's a good
names
one.
for our defense coming
I
in.
like that one.
Tommy Clado
All right.
says the Northern Fright, as in Northern Lights, or Marauders of the Midwest. I'm not feeling any of those.
It's Monsters of the Midway feel to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about the Orange Wave from Steve Frania? If we were on like an ocean, maybe?
We're the Browns. That's the only problem with the orange is we're the Browns.
Yeah.
So that's why that's tough.
The brown out. Nobody wants that. You know what a brown out is?
Wasn't there a, what about the Guns N' Roses song, Mr. Brownstone?
Yeah.
Brownstone defense? And then you could play that song? I don't even know the lyrics to that
I was
song.
going to say, I don't know what he's even. I don't know what
Ozzy.
he's getting
The
at.
last time I heard,
Yeah,
no,
Ozzy.
that's Guns N' Roses. The
Is
last
it?
time I heard
Oh,
that
yeah.
song was, I don't know, I was 12, so I'm not sure what the lyrics were. I remember thinking it really rocked back then.
Yeah, I mean, say it confidently.
Dr. Feelgood defense. We could play Dr. Feelgood.
There you go. I asked the great Z, this from Joe Ross, what's the number our offense needs to get to for you to feel confident in a win this weekend?
The point number?
Yeah,
24.
that's what I was thinking.
4.
Oh, goodness gracious.
We've only given up 3 points at home. Both games.
All right, so we can't use, in doing a quick Google search,
Someone sent me a tweet
in doing
on
a
name.
quick
We're
Google
not going to
search,
talk about that on the air.
on a quick Google search, I can tell you we cannot use Mr. Brownstone as a song.
Out.
Yeah.
No, 24 would make me feel really good. I feel like we would beat them with 24 for sure. 4 points, though. If we can keep doing what we're doing, why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
We've outscored our opponents 51-6 at home, gentlemen.
That's
51-6.
Let's go.
This is one I
Brownstone
don't know, I don't
defense,
have
let's
a
go.
question, but I think
Can't play
he's
it.
slated to talk to the media tomorrow. This is from Dog Pound Nick. Browns O-line assistant coach Scott Peters was mentioned on the Joe Rogan Experience by jiu-jitsu legend Eddie Bravo. Do any players train with him on a consistent basis? I think
He's
he
the one
talked to
who
the media
teaches
tomorrow.
them all the hand fighting and striking and
Yes.
all that. Yes. Yeah, he is constantly
What's the
working
Joe
with those
Rogan
guys.
experience? Why did you
I
just wanted to
mean,
look.
don't really know how to describe that on a radio station
We're good.
that requires a dump.
You're safe. You're safe.
Colton, too early to give up on Njigba fantasy-wise?
Yes.
Yeah, that's one.
Keep an eye on him, though.
You're in for. I think
See
you're in for the
Gino
long
going
haul.
up with him, going up to him and saying, "I need you," like trying to get him. I need you. Stay locked in, like that type of stuff. That's on me. I'll get it right at the game. He was mic'd up. It was on Inside the NFL this week.
Yeah, well, okay. Let's hope that it leads to something.
Got to lead to something, man.
Let's see. There's some weird ones this week. Let's go Bobby time.
Bobby.
Where's the worst smelling place you've ever been?
Septic tank of a slaughterhouse. Pretty bad.
Sounds disgusting.
You asked. He asked.
I've been in a
Actually,
couple.
that's what it smelled like at Acrisure Stadium when we walked in, too. I'm pretty confident.
I was
They were
once-
literally emptying the septic right there when we walked.
I don't know what the heck I was at,
I was
but
like,
it was
welcome to Blankburg. You know that.
it was daytime, and it was hot, and I was at a festival or something.
Yeah.
And I had to go to a porta potty, and it was just like
That's
it had been
it.
baking
Heated-
rank.
Yeah, heated. That's it. I mean, come on. Next, Bobby, be
Next,
better.
Bobby,
We don't
yeah.
want him to get sick,
Well,
Bobby.
Bobby gave him 100. That's when he chose.
Yeah, we can't. We got to stay. Keep us in a good mood here on a Thursday.
Which part of the roller coaster do you ride in? Front, middle, or back?
Front. Love the front seat.
I do, but
if I can't, I'd rather be back than the middle.
I'm not gonna. I'll do this. It's not worth the extra line for me.
Erroneous.
You think it is? I don't. I really don't care. Like
that
it's
doesn't
fine.
happen often.
Erroneous.
Front, or back.
Yeah.
Listen,
Listen,
that's fine.
Valraven, you
Yeah.
want to be in that front seat. Like it's a whole different experience.
There are certain specifically where that is yes, for sure. But also, like in general, I don't know that it. To me, it doesn't feel like that big of a difference.
When does soup season start?
Started.
Never stopped.
Yeah.
Downstairs, we got.
What do
some
they got going
interesting
down
ones
there?
going
Today
on.
was a turkey, like Middle Eastern spiced soup that was very good.
Oh, I miss those soups.
Oh yeah,
I love a good
I ended
soup.
up putting a little turkey burger in there, a little lamb in there.
Yeah, you do that. You like to take the meats and put it in
little
the
hot
soups.
sauce in
Oh,
there.
yeah.
The-
Yeah.
Although there's a
I've seen that
sriracha
idea.
shortage, that's why we don't have any sriracha downstairs.
There is a
know that?
sriracha
Sriracha
shortage.
shortage.
Yeah,
shortage.
Hate to see it.
How could you politely end a conversation with a person who is so annoying? Well, I told Zaguri he's dumb, and then we move on.
Just coming from with angles that are. Oh yeah. Well, you're dumb.
I mean, you're like fourth
Your
grade
mom.
insults are brutal.
Oh yeah.
You know what I do is I pretend that I get a phone call and say I have to go in the middle of an interview.
That's what you do.
That's what
That's
I do.
good.
Yep,
Yeah, that's good.
yep. He's got important things, or someone's got
Or-
to think about it.
Let me get back to you.
us.
Let me get back.
Let me get back to you on
Let me
that. I'll get back to you on that.
Ooh, that's a. Ugh. What do you think about the
All right,
Browns'
real
moves
quick.
this offseason? Ooh, let me get back to you on that. I gotta go think about that.
Real quick in our time left, what was your favorite toy when you were a child? We got like 20 seconds.
GI Joes, loved them. Aircraft carrier,
Dude, I had two things.
Ship.
I had the
plane.
I had an X-wing.
Land it.
I had a full X-wing.
Yep. Awesome.
And then I had this castle that with all the little figures, and we do those wars. Loved all that stuff.
Yeah, the castles with the figures. That's great.
That was intense, man. It
Were
was
your
rich.
kids ever into that?
No, but Bryce was in for a while. He's got a good wrestling figure collection, and he would
Yep.
make stables and matches and book the whole show and the whole deal. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, that was fun. They were into it if I did it. Like if I would set it up and like set up the story.
Sure.
Then they would
Yeah.
they would do it. But on their own, lazy. Too many options. So much more to come. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. And a reminder to join Z and Gerard, West Park Station Live. Stefanski Show tonight, 7 to 8. Compliments of Bud Light. MJ Emerson going to join the show, be on site for autographs.
Happy birthday.
That's a good get.
It is a good get. We've had
MJ.
Greg Newsome and now MJ Emerson.
That's very good.
Yeah.
Thursday night football tonight. Want to shout out our sister flagship station, 92.3 The Fan. If you'd like to listen late this evening, Thursday night football, Ian Eagle and the great Joe Thomas
Huff!
on the call.
Huffstradamus.
The Hoff, baby.
Lions at
30-30.
Packers.
It's a Thursday.
That's right.
Lambeau Field. Last year, the Lions came in there and they smoked Aaron Rodgers, sent him to New York. They
did.
set in
Sent 'em
motion
packing.
a series of events that have had catastrophic implications. They're in love with love, and so am I. Packers win. Packers win. Huge. Big Thursday.
The next level's next. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.